Right on time. There we go. Thank you kindly. You see, as my guest arrives, she gets your coffee as well. It's fantastic. Thank goodness the coffee arrives on time as opposed to what we see from Carl Lawrence arriving on time. He never arrives on time, but there we go. Big welcome to you, Morgan Yonkers. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic, man. Good to see you. How's it going?
No, really well.
You've had a pretty exciting start to 2026. I mean, last year we were chatting about Dad on the wall and in tears when you won your first race, and then now full-fledged. Oh, thanks for joining us, bud. See what I'm saying? I mean, what the hell? I do apologize for the tardiness and. You know,
we are professional, I promise.
Yes.
I promise we are.
You know what I need to do? I think I need to chat to Casio and get you a G-Shock, bro, because...
No, wait, can I just go on a rant? Can I go on a rant just for 2 seconds, all right?
Rant.
Can you people... Which camera are you talking to?
Doesn't matter.
Which one? That one?
Just talk.
Can we please stop trying to reply to WhatsApp messages while on the highway at 100 k's an hour? The fast lane is for 120, not 80. Get off your phones, watch the road, be safe, people.
You shouldn't be on your phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wasn't on my phone.
No, I'm sure you weren't.
That's why I wanted to say I was late.
I tried to phone you, you wouldn't answer.
I don't recognize numbers,
No.
bro. I owe too many people money to answer numbers I don't recognize.
Carl's number when I phone him is suspected spam.
What?
No, that's nice, eh? Nice. Anyway,
No, I didn't see. Did you
so
know?
surprise, surprise, look who we got.
Hi, Morgan.
Hello,
How are you?
Good, thank
Good,
you.
thanks. Nice to have you here.
Morgan's sitting there going, these two are absolute nutters.
I know, it's so good to have a second female on the show.
Okay, I'm glad.
Because Greg's the first one.
Yeah, that's right. I just said that you were the first lady, actually. But it's all good. That's how he is. Anyway, he's not getting coffee because of that now. Did you order coffee? Is that your coffee?
I didn't even get water.
Is it Dad's coffee? But you can have it if you want to. Don't worry, Dad's outside, so don't worry, it's all good. We're going to chat to him a bit later on. So, as I was saying before we were so rudely interrupted, I mean, really, you know, we try to be professional here. This is a professional outfit, by the way.
Yes.
We try to be.
And then they got me on.
Yeah. Morgs, I was saying, an exciting start to 2026.
Amazing start.
Yeah, tell us how it all happened, because I mean, one minute you're in a space frame winning and getting your dad to start crying on the pit wall, and next thing, full-fledged Pablo Clark. Here we go.
Yes. That was very cool. They contacted me last year and they asked them to come for an interview at the workshop. Just walking into that workshop is like, whoa. It's so awesome because all the Ferraris and the BMWs and everything's just standing there. So it's amazing. And we talked and had an interview. Their like first words were like, it's an interview where your fans tell us all about you.
Yeah.
So it's about school, horse riding, everything I do, tell them about. So it's very awesome. And then after that as well, we had an interview at the track. So it was an interview at the workshop and then interview at the track as well. And the track day went well. The car was sort of fun to drive. Something different to the space.
Yeah,
It's
for
not
sure,
the same
for
thing.
sure.
Yeah.
And I think you know when we talk about Pablo Clark, and I mean I know there's a really really great heritage in that team, and Paulo and his squad put an amazing effort together to do that. Here's our coffee lady. Hi, coffee lady. She's part of the show now, by the way. Say hi to camera. There we go. Thanks a lot. Yeah. I am going to get cucked on by a certain person who gave me hell about that last time. How can you let a person walk through shot? Oh my God. Yes. Guess what? She walked through shot again and brought us some coffees, okay? Because we are good. We're out there. At 8:30 at night, you need a coffee. Simple story. So, going back to what I was saying. Let's get into the serious stuff.
My bad.
The heritage behind the team is amazing. And Paulo, I mean, he's been involved in South African motorsport for such a long time, and he does such amazing work, not only on the development with you guys and Kent and the rest of the team and Karabo, but, you know, if you see, as you say, you walk into that factory, it's literally South African motorsport heaven. I mean, there's the two Tony Viana BMWs, there's the Dion Jabir BMW, there's
The Batmobile.
The Batmobile.
Yeah.
You've got all the Ferraris, and when I say all the Ferraris, he literally has a Ferrari collection of note. I mean, I think there's only about 2 or 3 that might be a little bit better than his, and they're all done in Cape Town with those guys who've got no money at all. You know, those guys we're talking about. But it must have been. I mean, I know I've done a few interviews, and he's probably done a few interviews where you've walked in going, I don't know if this is for me, you know. And do I have the ability? But we've seen what you can do in a race car. You're spectacular in a race car, young lady.
Thank you.
So your first intro into driving in a Pablo Clark car was obviously the Passion for Speed. If I'm not mistaken, I'm spot on with that or not?
Yeah.
The first
But besides the test.
Besides the test, yeah. So your first time out, flat out, you got 70 odd cars on the grid with you. You're obviously in your own class, but there has to be the preparation before that. Just take us through what you did with the team, because I think that's a very important thing to touch on, because there's a lot of people that are getting into motorsport, getting into new series, What, as a big team, did they do with you in terms of preparation to get you ready for your first stint on circuit?
We had practice day, that helped a lot, and Scott Temple's our instructor, so he
He's not a
helps
drive, by the
us.
way. James Temple is amazing, but Scott Temple not so good. No, I'm joking. Sorry, carry on, my angel.
No, he's really amazing. He's so good, and he's got his own computer, his laptop, and then he takes our Garmin's and compares the two. So he takes his laptop and then shows us, but look, you're braking more than what I am here, or you're braking harder than what I am here, and it just puts into perspective what you're doing a little bit differently to him, and then you try what he says, and it's like, that actually works.
Yeah.
So then you drop time.
So you're using a lot of the data and
Yeah.
telemetry at the car. So you guys use the Garmin system in those cars. Any sort of sim work that you're doing with I see Chloe Stewart always on the sim. She's always posting that she's on the sim. And any sort of sim work you do, is that done at Pablo Clark at the factory with Scott, or is it more?
We go alone sometimes, like not with Scott on the sim. So I was there Tuesday on the sim practicing Scott Cups. That's good as well. But we have a sim at home as well. So I practice a lot on there. And then sometimes we go through to Pablo Clark. And then Chris sometimes gives me tips on try this or try that. So everybody's very kind. They're always helpful, always giving you tips.
No, you know the cool thing about that is, and when he mentioned the sim, I mean, the first time I got him to do something other than karting with me was when we were in lockdown, and he climbed on the commentators search that we ran and nearly won. He actually did win, but because of the rules of the competition, there was a slightly younger one who got slightly better points than he did. But it doesn't matter. He's here now, fortunately, thank God. And that's why it's Commentators Curse, by the way. That's why I'm getting late, Jack.
I gotta get my kid to school, babe.
Oh no, so did I. And I also had to drop mom at work and then fight the double-decker highway. But it's all good.
I'll take it.
Bottom line, doesn't matter. You speak about the sim. Now, that I think has changed motorsport from a young driver's point of view in terms of your ability to get in a car and test it like we used to in the old days, but it was literally climb into the car for the first time and drive onto the track. Now, you've got that ability to kind of learn the track, maybe even get a little bit of a feel of what that BMW would be like through the sim, because they are so realistic, aren't they?
It is. It's so realistic. And even last year when we did Silver Cup with Kailami, it was my first time on Kailami. I've never been there. So I was practicing on the sim 2 weeks before the race. Every night I did like 50 laps.
Oof.
So then by the time I got there, I knew exactly where I was going. If you don't have the sim, you get there, you need to learn the track. You need to see what your car's doing. Now I at least know the track. I'm going to just see what the car's doing. So I think it helps a lot.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like especially when you're learning a new circuit, like if, for instance, I know a lot of people will get lost when I say this, but for instance, you've got a double apex left-hander, for instance, that tightens up. So your normal response would be to get to the apex as early as possible. But in the sim, you learn the later you apex, the better the time it proves. It gives you instant delta when you're on the track. So as you're driving on the screen, your delta comes up whether it was better or worse. But a lot of people, we talk about sim a lot, and a lot of people then send me a message and say, yeah, but what sim, what program, what? So just for the guys at home, what exact software are you guys using in terms of your sim to get the local circuits and to get as close to BMW E46, I think you use, as possible?
Oh, we use a Assetto Corsa, the one with mods. My
That's
brother,
the one to use.
My brother actually does all that stuff. He sets it up for me, makes it like as realistic as possible, and then I just go drive.
So in your sim setup, I know the one at Pablo Clark has got a full sort of active seat where the seat actually moves around a little bit. The pedals are almost exactly the same pedals. In fact, they probably are exactly the same pedals that are in the car. But the one at home may be a little bit different. So you've sort of got to, work in the fact that the one at home and the one at Pablo is going to be slightly different. Yeah. But the fact that you're getting time in the saddle and time around the track is probably the most important, as you said, to learn that circuit. Because a lot of people, and we chatted to Leighton, we chatted to Jordan, and both of them were saying, the time in the sim is so important. And when you're seeing it, even with your young guys, you get them into a sim and you say, right, this is what a doobie looks like, or this is what PE kart circuit looks like. Aldous Garanti. Kelsey's Ranch, I should say. But from a layman's point of view, like even me, during lockdown, they sent me a full sim setup and I put it all together and I climbed in and I thought, this is actually freaking amazing. I mean, you're talking about all that technical term you just said, and you probably understand it a bit more than me. And me as a commentator go, he's turning left into that corner. Yes, there is a double apex to the corner, but whether I actually understand what the double apex means or not, probably not. 9 times out of 10, it's probably not. I just look at the green line, and if I'm on that green line, I'm good to go. You know what I'm saying? And when it says brake, you brake.
Yep.
And it tells you how hard to brake. But now translating that from climbing out of the sim seat and climbing into the real race car, how big a difference is it, or is it really close? I don't know.
I say it's really close. The only thing is different in the car. It's a lot more closed, and you feel like not claustrophobic, but in it.
Yes.
With the sim, you don't feel like that. Like you're still looking around. Like our sim is in the playroom, and my schoolwork is sitting there. So sometimes if I don't fully concentrate on that, I start thinking, "Oh, I was supposed to do that math homework," or "Oh, I was
Yeah, you
supposed to
lose
do that
the
chemistry."
immersion. Yeah, you lose the
Yes.
immersion of it. You actually physically have to concentrate on the screen and not in the
Yes.
screen. I get that. So I do the Western Province Masters League every Wednesday on iRacing with.
Yeah,
I think
that's
Michael
cool.
Stevens does it a couple of times, and there's a few other production car drivers that can do it. The Ferries are there. I get my arse handed to me every time. It's without a doubt.
Yeah.
But the one thing I did notice the biggest thing for me is because I've come from racing my whole life without sims, and then try to come back to sims, I am not where I should be in terms of what I am in real life versus what I am on the sim. Now, with the younger generation, you guys have grown up racing sims. You've spent more time on sims than you have in real cars. So generally, the switch over seems to be a sim racer can get into a real world car a lot easier than vice versa. So like top drivers struggle to come backwards. But the biggest thing I miss in my experience is that visceral vibration, the sound in the car, the lack of anything in the car.
Yeah.
But now the one thing I wanted to chat to you about is I'll never forget the first time I got into a saloon car out of a go-kart or out of a space frame or out of something like that was the first time I touched doors with anyone.
Okay.
Without that interior, without that sound editing and the sound it makes, that experience of that first bang.
Yeah, it's horrible.
No, that's what I wanted to ask you about. It's like you feel like the whole car is about to fall apart. You come in and you've got like a tiny little dent on the door.
It was actually nothing.
Yeah. So in terms of the racecraft now, the sim doesn't give you that.
No.
So your first few laps in that BM with that many cars around you must have been.
Yeah, it's
something
very
else.
intimidating because the track is so busy. Wherever you look, there's a car around you. So it's like left mirror, right mirror, rear mirror, there's a car. So you really have to be awake, and you're luckily having like no bumping or anything there. Don't hope for it.
Yeah.
No, no.
It's going to come,
not
though.
fun.
It's going to come. I mean,
It's that saying rubbing is racing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's also, and listen, God rest his soul for the guy that brought that to the silver screen, losing Robert Duvall last week was probably one of the hardest things I ever saw on social media, because he was my like number one motor racing pit crew man.
Yeah.
And but it's exactly that, you kind of have, and you've got an amazing setup. That the team that's there is just superb. They look after you so well. But I think there's also, we talk about the development of the driver and from the sim into the race car, and then it's how to learn that racecraft that you've spoken about. But there's also other aspects that you're learning via Pablo Clark. I mean, there's a media side to it.
Yep.
I look at what Chloe did last year, and I mean, she won big accolade only a couple of days ago as well.
Yes.
Most famous South African motorsport contender.
Motorsport presenter of the year.
Yeah, so
Personality, sorry. Motorsport
personality. That's right, and that's a big deal because
very big.
it's also what Pablo Clark and Paulo and the team are looking for. They're not only looking for someone that can drive well; they want to have someone that can present themselves well in the motorsport fraternity.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point of the development program. They're helping us with social media, with finding sponsors. We're going to go see a sports psychologist once a month. So everything, they're proper like developing us in every aspect of racing. It's not just the car.
I think that's really crucial because a lot of the youngsters that you've got, you might be doing that on a similar vein, but you don't have the same. And don't take this the wrong way, because it's the same thing that I say when somebody says to me, climb onto a microphone, and I say, yes, I can do that with my eyes closed. Yeah, pretty good. but the other thing is like you talk about coaching, and your fundamentals are in coaching. So on a similar vein to what Morgan's getting now from the coaching side of things is she's getting that coaching, but she's getting the vital statistics that go into motorsport as well. We always talk about that famous saying that went out a couple of years ago with a meme that says, racing is important, but education is important. But is it the other way around? Sometimes it is, because sometimes this is where you want to go. And you spoke about homework, and you spoke about schoolwork, you spoke about the fact that you're riding horses as well. So there's an all-round factor to you as well.
Yeah, it's a lot to do, especially at school. Durham, I'm in matric now, so it's not much longer. I finished school in May. So then I really want to do something in racing now. I really want to get further in it. I think that's what Pablo Clark's helping me a lot with, the development stage of it, to develop me and then show people, look, I can race, but I also have the social media. I also have sponsors behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
that leads nicely into the next question. So you with Pablo Clark, this is your first season with him. I know it's an early question, an early time to ask this question, but you're young in motorsport, but is there a plan of action going forward in terms of what your main goal is and what your that number one achievement that you're looking for? What is that?
So say my main goal is I so really want to drive Spa in a Porsche. So I don't know how I'm going to get there. I need to figure it out, yeah.
You might have to chat to him, man. I think he's got Porsches, I think he's got Ferraris. You can get in a Ferrari.
You basically just want to do Spa. Whatever you
I
can
just want to do Spa.
Just do Spa, yeah. So the goal for you is obviously you want to go the GT route, the GT3 sort of.
Yes.
So single seater is not the Formula car is not the option.
No.
Okay, so single seater. So GT3. So anybody looking for either a Fun Cup person to drive at Spa 25 hour or a GT3 driver at the next Spa 24 hour, Morgan's available. So just drop an email. You can get to her through her agent Pablo Clark.
Yeah. But also, you've got your own social media. I mean, we've been watching you on social media as well. It's one of the reasons we came and asked you to jump in. And then bring that other person that brought you here, because
The less famous one.
he's a bit dodgy. We'll get to him later.
We're only getting him on because he was your Uber here.
Yeah, he's your official Uber for Morgan. No, only kidding. But I think, you know, what I've seen from your family's point of view, and we're going to chat to your dad in the next episode about it too. There's a huge support base at home as well, and it's not a case of that dad's going, well, you know, yeah, you're a little bit of talent, and should I put the money in? It's on a. And I have to say, I mean, sitting right there should be Brad Binder right now, and that's how important that seat is to you right now. We've given you Brad's seat because Brad left us. Thanks for that, Brad. But more importantly is you know, his support base from home. You know, Trevor and Mom put in massive amounts of time, massive amounts of money, and it's a costly game that we're playing in here. It's not a cheap sport.
No.
But there are ways and means of making it a little bit more cost effective. And you've mentioned sponsors. You've mentioned the fact that you've got to present yourself well so that the sponsors look after you.
Yes.
From a young lady's point of view, and I've spoken about it with my own daughter, it's not an easy journey to go through because of what the history of the sport has been like and the non-inclusion of women in motorsport. But that has changed dramatically.
It has really.
So take us through your feelings on that.
I think there's more and more women coming into motorsports, which is really, really good, I think. And I think the sponsors are seeing us. So they're like, nothing wrong with boys in motorsport or anything, but I think they're seeing the girls a bit more and then hopefully sponsoring us a bit more and then making it for like so many girls in the karting. I know, so Gianna is now going to MSA4s and she's doing that Beyond Racing.
Yeah.
That as well.
Coaching program.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we're obviously getting further and it's really cool.
Also, like, it's not starting only, I mean, how old are you now?
17.
I know it's the wrong thing to ask a lady, but at 17 years of age, you've had a pretty significant career in motorsport and had a couple of really nice little boxes ticked up to now. But then when you look at, you spoke about Gianna, but I even go and I look at even some of the younger karters. I mean, you've got...
Well, Emma Rose Downing's just been selected for the F1 Women's Academy.
But even younger than that, you've got
Beton Court is now coming from Rosenberg to race in South Africa.
and then there's another Gianni or Gianna or Giovanna.
Okay.
Giovanna, she's got a massive following on social media, and she actually came and did an interview with me because she's sponsored by Liqui Moly.
Yes, and super quick as well.
And did a whole interview with me just before we got into the One Africa Open Day. Yes. And even at that young age, I mean, I worked with my own daughter Addie and started her at 8, and she was the youngest motor journalist in the world at 8, accredited. But this is not an ego thing and not blowing her horn or mine. You've got to start there. Yes. You know, you speak about how getting them in as young as possible and getting them on the right path as early as possible is probably a good idea. And it certainly bodes well for what we've seen on Morgan's success.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, and Morgan, you've done it very well just sitting here, I mean, in the 5 minutes that I've made you do the podcast, is that the one thing that is really, really important amongst all the drivers that I've worked with, and I've been in Europe with them and gone overseas with them and listened to a lot of drivers doing what they need to do overseas. The majority of the teams look at not only how fast you are on the car, how you talk to your engineers, how you behave in the team, how good you are as a media personality, how people around like you. There's so much that goes into a package of a racing driver, which you are ticking all the boxes if you go through the podcast. So, you know, and it's such an important step for young drivers to do. And a lot of it is learned through karting because a lot of it, you know, starting younger, but it's not something you've had a lot of experience in the karting side. Do you feel like you've missed out on something as you go into circuit racing because of that?
No, I don't think so. I think I learned the basics of karting, like loose rear and stuff like that. So because I didn't know anything when I went in. Like my dad did it for a very long time, but me and my brother didn't really have an interest in it. I think when I was 15 then, Then Zander got a cart. And then he got a spare cart. And I jumped into the spare cart because I almost wanted a turnout. And then that's how I got the cart. And as I told my dad, no, I want to do this. So then we both started. But I didn't do karting long. I only did it for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Then we moved over to long circuit. But no, I don't think I missed anything from the karting moving up to main circuit.
It's a nice point that Morgan raises there. And we always talk about the fact that, if you look at any of the world champions and the people that have gone into motorsport and made massive successes for their careers and themselves, they all kind of started karting.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, well, that's the point I wanted to get across to the viewers that are watching, because often there's those that are sitting at home, had no motorsport experience, but they can afford now. They've done their jobs. They've worked themselves up in their careers. They've got a little bit of disposable income available. It doesn't mean you have to go start in karting. I mean, there's so many other series in main circuit, and like you said, there's so much dilution in motorsport at the moment, and there are cheap ways to get involved, and one of those being long circuit. So if you haven't done karting, there is the sim world, and then there's always go straight to long circuit, and there is Morgan. She's done it. She's done the
Proof
step.
in the pudding. Yeah.
Proof in the pudding. You don't have to do a full 6 seasons of karting before you can get to any sort of real main circuit.
And following on that, I'm going to give our good friend that comes and sits in our commentary booth every now and again a little punt there as well. BMW M Performance Racing Series is arguably, and it's one of the things we're going to be chatting about when we chat to Dad, the biggest growing motorsport entity in circuit racing. Yes, they were outgunned slightly at Passion for Speed, and I am going to mention that, by the historic class, but there's a lot of historic cars that are there, and that whole combination of the historic classes just beat them in terms of the numbers on the track on the day, by about 4 or 5 cars. But your particular aspect, the new Class D, if I'm not mistaken, in Naturally Aspirated Cup now, and that change up also was quite cool, which we'll get into at another stage. But in Naturally Aspirated Cup, Class D is basically open to somebody who has a BMW that they've converted into a race car, and they want to now come and have a bit of fun on the track and see if they've got what it takes. And it shows you that you can be the back of the pack in Class D for 2 seasons, but as you get better and better and better, and it's exactly what's going to happen with you. You watch Chloe fight for the front end of your class, but you were in the mid pack, and you said cars all around you. You were fighting hard. Sometimes that's better than being at the front and just disappearing from the race, because you sit there and you get
you learn nothing.
because the TV doesn't give you anything because you're miles ahead.
Yeah.
But if you're in a battle, you're learning race strategy, and I think that's also a point that I want to raise is that class. Silver Cup is another one, but we'll chat about Silver Cup in the next episode with Dad. There are opportunities for guys to build cars and go and have some fun. And girls and guys. When I say guys, it's generalization, but girls and guys to build cars and go and have fun.
People.
People. There we go. Thank you for that one. But the people side of things is what we love about the sport too, because you've in 2.5 years have met and created contacts and sitting with almost I wouldn't say it's a factory drive, but it's a dealer team type drive with backing from sponsors that are part of Pablo Clark that you've got to keep happy.
Yeah, definitely. No.
So for those watching at home, when are we seeing you back on circuit and back in a car so they can come and meet you, greet you, and get a signature from you at a racetrack anytime soon?
The next race is 7th of March at Swartkop. So 2 weekends.
Don't check your coffee cup.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
In fact, I'm already booked.
Nice.
I'm there with.
They haven't booked me yet.
Yes, they have.
And they have. We both need to. So yeah, we'll be chatting about this young lady and her escapades in the Naturally Aspirated Cup of M Performance Racing Series.
Yeah.
On that day, though, they are the biggest class. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yes.
So we are looking at, I think, about 60 BMWs, possibly, maybe a little bit more. There are a few cars that had some damage after Passion for Speed that potentially need a little bit of
love and care,
zip ties and duct tape. And if they've got the right zip ties and duct tape, they can have a race with us.
You can fix anything with enough zip ties.
Exactly.
But we know your car will be right because Pablo Clark will have it sorted.
But then, before you go, you mentioned a certain other sport that also requires some horsepower.
Yes.
Just take us through that too, please, because that's quite interesting. I mean, you're driving for a Ferrari team and you're riding horses at the same time.
Yes.
And horsepower is just in the family.
Definitely.
So I didn't even know about that. So that's why I'm asking. I'd like to know, how did it go? What have you been doing? What's the career path there?
Yeah. No, we started 5 years ago. I've got my own horse. His name's BC. So I love him to bits. It sounds a bit stupid, but it actually stands for Battle Creek. So he's got pretty really cool name.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, decent.
I like when horses have got like a really cool name. Wolf Power. Huh?
Yeah.
When Wolf Power won the July like 15 times in a row, he was like unbeaten. And he was a grey as well. And like the greys are normally like weak horses. And now like, hello.
I have
He's my
actually no
man.
idea what you're talking
I
about.
made a couple of rands on that horse, by the way. But you wouldn't understand it because you don't understand.
I don't.
You don't
Horses
do
scare the
horses.
crap out of me.
No, you're scared of horses. I love horses.
Yeah.
My middle daughter is just besotted with horses, so that's why I'm asking. You know,
Amazing. And
is it show jumping? Is it dressage? What is it?
show jumping. We're
Okay.
jumping a meter now. We actually did a show 2 weekends
Wow.
ago, and we won both classes.
Oh, well done.
Thank
Oh
you.
my goodness.
So you just excel at
I can't-
everything. What are you,
I
like a
can't do this
90% at school as well?
No,
I'm sure.
I'm not.
Oh, okay, good at least.
No, I'm going to ask you that. I'm going to
better
ask what to. In fact, I think he brought your report with. Because if you're getting like an 85% average, then I'm just going to walk away right
Yeah,
now.
okay.
Because you're good on a mark as well, by the way. So
Okay,
if you ever
thank
want to have a
you.
chance and you're feeling like you're up to it, and he's not available, you're more than
Okay.
welcome to jump into his chair.
Sure.
Because he's shocking.
You've just been
He's
kicked
shocking.
out.
He's shocking.
I've only just got in here, man. Like, jeez.
No, but from our side of things, I mean that's a really
Yes.
different way, and it's. I know they always say you should have something else that's part and parcel of your sort of setup in life. I've had a couple as well. He's had a couple, but
Yeah.
horse riding it's a very competitive sport as well. Never mind motorsport.
Both of them are competitive, but I think they work well together. Like with the fitness side of things and the concentration, especially with the horse, you don't know what he's going to do. He's got his own brain and mind.
Yeah,
That's why
So
I
it's
don't sit on it. Steering wheel, you turn the steering wheel,
Yeah,
goes that way.
good
Turn
point.
Horse goes, no, I want to go there. No.
Yeah, good. I think they work well together. So you're the whole time awake, and especially with the BMWs now, because it's different to the space room. You have to be a bit more awake with it and like half expect something to happen. So then it's the same with the horse. So I think they work well together, the two sports.
I think from the concentration level, you spot on there. In terms of, and this is not a rude question. I mean, what do you weigh? Probably like 40 kilos. How many hands is your horse?
16.3.
That's a big
Quite
horse.
big horse, yeah.
That's a big horse. Wow.
How many, what? Hands?
That's how you measure.
Horse
a
got
horse.
four
hooves.
See, we're teaching him. at the
Horse
same
got
time.
4 hooves, but I was talking about hands here.
Yes. See, we have to teach Carl as well.
do we measure like this?
We are so good, but we're also informational. By the way, so that's a big horse for a small rider to be on. I mean, I know jockeys are small, but they're supposed to because they're not supposed to put pressure on the horse. But I mean, he's big enough for me to ride.
Yeah,
I'm at
he's
100
big horse.
ish. 100-ish. Yeah, I'm not going to go there. But yeah, I think it's also, as you said, it's a valid point. I mean, the few times that I've ridden on a few occasions, you climb on that animal, and it is its own entity. You know,
Yep.
you don't know what he wants
not
to do or
always
what
good.
she wants to do, and that's probably why he's scared of them.
100%.
But I look and I go, yeah, you can put a lot of similarities and parallels in place there in terms of what you can, because
Definitely.
when the car has a problem and it gets out of shape, you have to react.
Yes.
The same thing applies. So the cross-training aspect must be pretty good on that too, never mind the fitness side of things,
Yes.
from the mentals preparation.
Definitely, they work really, really well together. So it keeps me busy, and during the week I've got lessons and then shows and then on the sim and then at the track.
You get to sim for horses, by the way.
Busy.
I've seen that.
No, that's
Actually,
a cool one.
I believe what actually happened.
What you do is you take a 20-cent coin. No,
they actually legitimately make sense, bro.
They're 5 rand coins then. You put it in and then you sell it.
But they're joke.
Outside the
They
Olympic.
legitimately make sims. Not
horse?
for
Really?
horse. They legitimately make
They do
show
actually.
jumping
No
sims.
ways. No, this is
They
blowing my
do.
mind. And show jumping sims.
Legitimate, bro. Size of a horse, the whole thing.
The
You can
whole
adjust
thing
them.
moves as you go over the jumps.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So you got to learn how to sit
tell you what.
and do all sorts
No,
of
hold on a second. Now you've opened up a whole can of worms here. Okay, which we don't feed horses.
I was going to
Listen,
say.
Yeah.
Can I, hey, you mean?
Paolo Cavalieri, we are going to come and do a sim challenge at Pablo Clark. So please, if you're all watching this and you know who Pablo Cavalieri is, you know who Pablo Clark is, like and share this one particularly. This is episode 5. Please like and share it, because we want to get this out to as many people as possible. Because Carl and I are going to go and do a sim challenge.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about this. Like it worked in.
We're going to get your horse sim to Pablo Clark, please.
I don't have
Well,
one.
we're going to find
know
one.
of one.
We're going to get one, okay? We're going to get it to Pablo Clark. Pablo will be up for this. I can tell you this right now, okay? We're going to be up for this big time. We're going to put the horse sim next to a Ferrari. We're going to put the racing sim next to a BMW. We're going to put you into the horse sim, onto the horse sim, me onto the horse sim, him onto the horse sim. That's going to be classic. And then we're going to all 3 of us get into the race sim.
Yes.
And we're going to do a challenge. The challenge is who can be fastest or who can have a clearer round on the horse sim and the race sim. And and we'll combine the two, and then we'll come up with a winner. How does that sound?
Yeah, loser
My
does
money
That
is on.
sounds good.
what? And loser does what though?
Loser is what?
Loser out of the two of us does what?
No. We're not going to say that. If you think of the best thing that the loser has to do. Okay, so we want those comments. We want those. Send us whatever you want to. Whoever the loser is has to do it, and we'll pick the best one out of the comments that get brought up to the show, and then we'll have some fun. How does that sound?
Sounds amazing.
Sounds good. Yeah,
good for it?
sounds good. Yeah.
Before we go, there's
Yeah.
one thing I want to do because
do.
you guys have shown massive support. We've had WhatsApps, we've had phone calls, we've had messages, we've had all of it.
Yeah.
What we do need you to do though is if you watch it on YouTube, will you pay attention? Because I'm gonna do this now. Are you watching?
No.
Over here,
See here on the
see
bottom
here
of the screen. I've
is
mentioned
the
it a few times.
subscribe button. Please do it. Push the subscribe button because without you guys subscribing, we can't keep doing this.
As they would say in the Jacobs family, druk die groen knoppie.
Yes.
But subscribe het op hom.
Yes.
Asseblief. Dit moet vreeslik aantreklike
Ja.
drukking of die groen
Druk net die
knoppie wees.
groen knop.
There we go. See, what I have to say when I got off at one stage right there. Thank you very much. There we go. Okay, so that's it for episode 5. Morgan, thank you so much for joining us.
So thank
You're
you for
amazing.
having me. Thank you.
And we wish you all the very best. We can't wait to see what happens on the 7th. I'm sure there's going to be some
Thank you.
massive improvements. You've been working hard for it.
Definitely.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Yeah, we were at the track yesterday, so
There we
been
go.
practicing.
See? Stay tuned. Swartkop, 7 March. We're going to be there. Extreme Festival Regionals and Performance Racing Series. Pablo Clark Racing's number. Well, there's 2 ladies. We're not going to say who's the best of the 2 because they're both very, very successful drivers in their own right. But this is the rookie that she's looking to impress. So, okay then. Bye-bye now.